Aloha, Richard Halverson here. This is ITS148, and this is the third week of class, second week of, it's the third week of classes. We're in chapter 8. Let me just share my screen here real quick. All right, so we're here, and so we should be starting chapter 8, lists and dictionaries this time. We're still working on 620 lab, so I'm going to work on that. We have 2 class periods this week, so I want to finish that up, and then next class period I'll get you started on this assignment here if I haven't already. But there's another big programming exercise in chapter 8 too that we have to get started on. So let me just take a peek at this. What was this assignment? Oops, is this it? Oh, this is it. Oh. Okay, this is 8.17. And what was this? Was chapter 8. This one here. Okay, so what you're doing is you're implementing this one. The assignment is you're implementing this program. Oh, it's an asterisk program. Yes, so this is a pretty complicated program to do these things. And so we'll start that next time. But so let's see what chapter 8 is real quick here. It's lists and dictionaries. So you should remember this from last semester. A list is an object. It's an array. It's called an array in other languages, and it is represented as a list inside square brackets. So here's an example where we are defining a list and we are naming it my list, and it contains 3 elements: first element, second element, and third element. And we can access a list simply by its index. So that's pretty easy. You should be pretty familiar with lists. So just go through this. You can click through. See, we are here. You can click through 1 and 2, and if there's any, are there any challenges or anything in 1 and 2? Yes, there are. So you'll get credit for those. And so this should really refresh your memory on lists, and because you're going to be using them a lot this semester. List methods. Refresh your memory on list methods, how to add to a list. This appends to the end of the list. This adds all items in one list to another. Here you can insert at a particular position in the list. It's going to push all the rest of them down. And removing elements, you can remove the first item. Remove first item from list with value X. So remove the first item in the list that is the value X. So if there's so for example, for this one, 8, if there's more than 1 8, it's only going to remove the first one. Pop will pop off and it'll remove the last item in the list and return it to you. And this will this will remove and return the item in position. What's the difference between, okay, so this is an index. This is an index, and this is a value. So this is looking for a value. You can modify the list in various ways. These are built-in methods where you can sort the list just by saying this. You can reverse the elements of the list just like this, by saying that. It's a method all by itself. And then this here will return an index of the first item of this value. So in this list here, the index of 14 is 2, 0, 1, 2. So printing the index of 14 is going to print 2. And for this one, printing the index, here's a count. For this will count up the number of 5s in the list and print that. So anyway, there's other ways to add and delete elements from a list. And then you can, these sections here are there for your reference. You won't get points by clicking through these, but you may want to just click through them real quickly. You don't need to do the participation activities, but just to remind you where these things are, because later on when you're writing code, you may want to refer back to these sections to figure out how to do stuff. But some of these, like here, 810, you'll get points for doing this one because this is a new section. And in fact, do I give you? I haven't given you your server yet. Maybe next time or the next time after that, I should give you guys your the server you'll be using so you can actually fiddle around it on Linux. You also should install Python on your computer, which you probably have already done. So any of these sections here that did not say optional, you click through those. Those are new sections. Oh no, these are refresher sections, but this is a new section. And this 817 is a long lab. It's a pretty long lab, but I'm going to that's what your assignment is going to be. So we're going to implement 817 in Visual Studio. So I'll show you that next time. All right, it's 3:40, and maybe I can get through the rest of this 620. So if we go back to here and go back to chapter 6, and we were working on 620. And if you look at the video, you click here and click here and look at the video and see how far we got. You'll see that we got as far as we implemented these 2 functions of this menu, and now we're going to just do the remaining 3. So you recall this program? It's this kind of dumb authoring assistant program, and it takes some text and it fixes it up a little bit. So it'll first of all, you input this text, and it responds by saying this is what you input, and then you're able to do these functions. First, you're able to count up the number of non-white space characters. So count up the number of characters here that aren't spaces, and it outputs those. Here, this W function counts up the number of words. And we've done those 2 functions. This F function fixes the capitalization. And all it really does with fixing the capitalization is it makes sure that that sentences start with a capital letter. See, so this is going to be capitalized. This will, blah, blah, blah. This will, I don't know if this will, sentences. It's the F function. No, it'll capitalize after periods, exclamation points, and question marks. I don't see, oh, here's an exclamation point, but there's no words after that. Anyway, so that's what fixed capitalization does. Replace punctuation, what that does is it goes through and it replaces exclamation points with periods, and it replaces semicolons with commas. So this is going to be replaced with a comma, and this is going to be replaced with a period. Finally, this last function here, shorten spaces. All it does is it goes along, and if it finds more than one space in a row, it gets rid of this, gets rid of the extra spaces. So it outputs it back out. Outputs it back out again. These three will output back out again. Okay, so let's start working on these three. Where was I last time? Let's see. Where's my, get rid of this. And that over here. Here's my 148 folder, and it is this one here that I was working on. So I'm going to open it with Notepad. Okay, here we are. And I'm going to open up a, I'm going to open up a CMD. Okay. Okay, so so this is what I have so far. I've got get the number of non-white space characters. I've got get the number of words. So I've done C, and I've done W. Now I got to do, let's do F. F is fixed capitalization. Fixed capitalization. So I'm going to use the is lower and the dot upper functions. Maybe. I don't really know why I would have to use that function, but so this is going to be called, I'm going to call it def that. And what comes in is a sentence. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is, where are my notes here? So I'm going to keep, so I'm going to kind of click through, let me get rid of this. I'm going to try to, excuse me, I'm going to kind of, this is down here. Yeah, this shows at the end of every one. Okay, so this is gonna start reading things in one character at a time, and if the we are fixing capitalization, if the okay, and it's going to skip space, or it'll just, okay, so it's going to keep track of the last character. It's going to go, first of all, it's going to start out, it's going to set the last character equal to nothing. So let me just do that. So I'm going to use this last character variable that I'm going to start out setting equal to nothing. And I'm going to, this sentence is going to come in, and I'm going to make a new sentence going out. So I'm going to do sentence out equals starting with nothing. And who am I counting? I wonder why I'm counting. Oh. Am I supposed to return a count? I'm doing fixed capitalization. Oh, number of letters capitalized equals 3. So I got to keep track of the number. It has a string parameter and returns an updated string where lowercase letters in the beginning of sentences are replaced with uppercase letters. It also returns a number of letters that have been capitalized. Okay, so that's why I keep track of is lower, because if it's already capitalized, it's not going to be one that I need to capitalize. Okay. So I have, so I'm going to keep track of some kind of count. Count equals 0. And then I'm going to do, I'm going to first I'm going to look at the very first character. I'm going to start this out by looking at the very first character. If sentence of 0 is lowercase, then I'm going to connect, I'm going to attach in sentence. Oh, this is the output. Sentence out is concatenated onto sentence out is sentence 0 to upper, right? Upper. Okay, so that's going to take the first character of sentence and make it uppercase, and it's going to store that into sentence out, and we're going to increment the count. If it's not the case where the first letter of the sentence is lower, we're going to assume it's not a blank. Then yeah, I'm going to assume it's not blank. Else, the first letter of the sentence is already capitalized, and I can just append it onto the output. And I don't have to make it uppercase because it already is uppercase. Okay, now if the now remember, I'm keeping track of the previous character, and the only this last character should actually be the last character before a space. So the only time we want to keep track, the only time we want to update last character is if we are sitting on a space. Not, if not, no. The only time we want to update the last character is if we're not sitting on space. Is that right? Yeah, okay. So if Yeah, we want to skip those with the space. So if it's not true that sentence of I wait, I'm screwing up here. I'm screwing up. Okay. Okay, after I'm done with the first character, then I'm going to loop through all the rest of the characters of the sentence that came in. So I'm going to do 4, and I'm going to use I as the index as I'm indexing through this. 4 I in the range, and I've already taken care of the first character, so I can start with the second character, which I identify with index 1 instead of index 0. The length of the sentence. Okay, so this is going to do a for loop, indexing through the sentence that came in, starting with the second character. And then what I do is I say, if this last character is equal to a period, or last character is equal to a exclamation point, or last character is equal to a question mark. Is that it? I guess so. If that's true, and the current character that we're looking at, which is sentence and okay, see, so it's got to be one of these, and it's got to be true that sentence, the character we're looking at, is a lowercase character. No, this. So if the last character is something that ends a sentence, and we are on a character that is lowercase, and we're skipping spaces, remember. If that's the case, then we want to append. So sentence out, append onto sentence out, an uppercase version of the current character. And we increment the count because we're taking a lowercase character and we're making it uppercase. Count +1. Okay. So that increments the count. Okay, so so this is the only time that we would change the character. Otherwise, we just append the character on. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be a space, or it can be it can even be where the last character was one of these, and it's actually an uppercase character, which in that case we don't need to do anything, and again we're just appending the character. So else sentence out, append onto that sentence of I, just like that. So we're just appending the character onto the sentence going back out. And to be able to keep track of this, the last character, we go, if it's not true that sentence of I is a space. In other words, if it's not a space, if the character that we're looking at is not a space, then set the last character equal to that character. So that means that last character will always be the last character before the last space. Is that right? If it's not a the last character will always be the last character unless the last character was a space, in which case the last character is going to be the character before that space. All right, and let's return, see, when we call this thing, how do we output it? See, we're getting to, okay, so when we're all done with that, when we're all done, that means we're at the end of the we're done looping, and so we've got a sentence out and we've got a count. So let's just return that. Return sentence out and count. So I'm just going to return those two. All right, well, so we start out by looking at the first character, and if it's already capitalized, then we just append the first character onto the sentence out. Sentence out starts out as nothing, and each time sentence out gets changed, we either append a letter onto it, or we append a character onto it by capitalizing it first, or we just append a character. No, see, this capitalizes it, this capitalizes it. This just appends the letter onto the tail end of the sentence going out, and that's it. This is all that keeps track of last character, and if the last character is not a space, then it sets the last character as equal to this character. So and we are just appending character after character after character. We're just appending the characters unless we come across this case where this last character is one of these, a period, an exclamation point, and a question mark. The character that we're looking at is not uppercase, it's lowercase. And so then the character after a question mark or an exclamation point or a period, a character that comes after that should be capitalized because it's the starting of a new sentence. And so that's what this does. All right. So so I'm going to see if this, I'm going to save this. And first I'm going to see if there's any errors. Where am I here? Okay. CD, OneDrive, CD desktop, CD ITS148. Here I am, and it's this one I'm working on, lab 6.20.py. I'm going to try to just run it. Python lab 6.20.py. All right, enter the text. So I'm going to do this text, copy, and I will paste it here. paste. There we go. Enter. And so it says what I entered. Entered that. And then I'm going to go choose an option. And I'm going to say, first I'm going to say C for number of non-white space characters. Oh, look, it's 101. Okay, and then I'm going to W for number of words. Oh, look, it's 35. Fixed capitalization. Let's see what happens. F. This isn't going to work. I already know it's not going to work. Doesn't do anything. It just outputs fixed caps. Why? Because I didn't have it, didn't tell it to do anything. Here. So this is called, it's called right here, F. And when it's called, we have to output two things. We have to output oh, I see how this, really, I'm gonna do it that way? All right, I'm gonna try to do it this way. Right here, I'm gonna put fix capitalization of user string. Okay, so that's what's going to go in there. Now, what should come back is two values, right? What should come back is the string and the count. So let's see if this works. I'm going to say number of, no. Oh, I see why it does that. All right, I'm going to do this one. Oh, shoot, it's going to let me do that. I wonder how this thing, well, is this thing going to test? No, I don't think it is going to. No, it's not going to unit test this. This does not get unit tested. So I'm going to say count comes out first and then sentence comes out later. Why? Because it's got to output this way. It's got to output oh, it's got to output this. It's got to output number of letters capitalized 3 and then edited text that. So that's what it's got to output. So I got to make it so it's going to output first thing it's going to print out is number of letters capitalized is the first one, and then edited text is the second one. New line, why not? All right, we'll see if this works. This is different than the key, by the way. So, oh, I got to quit this first. Q and start it up again. 52. Diggy. Oh, print. Oh. One more like that. So print. Okay, enter sample text. Is it still there? I don't think it is still there, is it? Oh, it is. Okay. And I want to try F. No. Because really what came back is I suppose a list or something. So what I'm gonna do is instead of this, I'm gonna go C Oh no, COUNT equal, well, COUNT comma sentence out equals that. And I've named them the same. They don't have to be named the same, but now let me see if I can go count sentence out. I wonder if this works. No. Enter sample text. This. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. It worked. And it capitalized that, and it capitalized that. Oh. Okay. All right. So it looks like that works. What's next? Replace punctuation. Here we go. Replace punctuation. Def. Replace punctuation. Let's see what this looks like over here. Replace punctuation. And there's going to be a sentence coming in, and there's going to be oh, I don't know what this means. Let's see. We are here, replace punctuation, and we're outputting I don't understand why. Oh, I see. Exclamation. Well, I'm going to not do it the way they're suggesting, and I'm going to do it a different way. Let's see, replace punctuation. And I'm just going to input a sentence, and it's going to output the number of times the exclamation point was replaced, and it's going to count the times the semicolon was replaced. And I'm not going to bother passing back these arguments. I don't think. I'm just going to output them in this method itself. So let's start out by going the sentence out equals nothing. And now I'm going to do for, I'm going to go through the sentence one by one, for I in sentence. Oh, this is a character at a time. For each character in the sentence. Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to add up count. I got to count exclamation points. EXPTS equals 0. And I'm going to count exclamations and semis. 0. So counting semicolons and exclamations. And so for all the characters in there, I'm gonna attach the character sentence out if I equals a exclamation point, then sentence out gets appended onto it a period. Otherwise, elif I is equal to a semicolon. If that's the case, then sentence out is appended onto it a comma. Otherwise, sentence out is simply appended I, which is the actual character. I'm going to use C for character. I like C better. I like I for index. I like C for character. All right, that should be it. And now I'm just going to print out, because I'm all done. I'm going to print out punctuation replaced. And I'm just going to do a new line here. Just replaced. Print exclamations is going to be exclamations. I have to do something here first. I got to increment exclamations here. Exclamations +1, and this one's going to be semis +1. And here I'm writing out exclamations, and then I'm going to write out semis. Semicolons, SEMI. You have to fix this, so you can fix it so it's right. Okay, so let's see what this does. What time is it? 4:15. Wonder if this will work. Should work. I gotta quit this, and let's run it again. And let me see if this is there. No, it's not. And I want to send this extra space there at the end. I wonder if that's going to matter. Oh, all right. So we entered this. Yes, that is what we entered. Now let me see replace punctuation. See what that does. R. Blah, blah, 5. Okay, well, replace punctuation. What do I want to do? I want to, what do I do over here? Does this return anything? Oh, it's got to return the sentence. Return sentence out. Okay. So I'm just going to say, sentence, new sentence equals this. Equals replace punctuation of user string, because that's what we call it up here. That's what it comes in as. So we call replace punctuation. It's going to return a new sentence. In the meantime, it's going to print out. It'll print out this other stuff up here. Put this right here. That's one way to do it. I can do it. That's fine. Various ways to do it. Let's see. Quit. Run. Does this work? No. Sample text. Copy. Paste. Enter. R for replace punctuation, and it says it definitely there's no more one exclamation, one semi. Okay, let me try something here. How do I word wrap? Word wrap. Okay, so so I'm gonna throw a couple more exclamations in here. One more there, and I'm gonna put another exclamation. I'm gonna put a semicolon here, and I'm gonna then copy this. And I'm gonna go over here, and I'm gonna quit this, and I'm gonna start it up again. And the first, and I'm gonna paste this sample text in there. And then I'm gonna, first of all, I'm gonna, is this gonna work? I guess I can't do two things at once, can I? Entered a string, and then it's got, I guess we have to, well, okay, let me just see what this does. I'm gonna try replace punctuation, and it's indoor space, civilians, yes, okay, that's replaced a period to seven. Now I'm curious, what happens if I do F? Okay, it just goes back to the regular one again. And then if I do R, it does it on the other. Okay, I'd like to make it so it's 420. I'd like to make it so it continues. It actually updates the string. So it loops here, and each time it puts sample text into execute menu. How about if I do this? Execute menu does this, and what comes back is always okay. Here I'm going to return the same thing. Return user string, and here I'm going to return user string. But here I'm going to return. I'm going to return sentence out. And here I'm going to return sentence, return new sentence. And here I'm going to, oh, I haven't done this one yet. Okay, well, see, so what I want to do is I'm going to change this into a function that returns something. And I'm going to, so whatever the name of this function is supposed to be, shorten space user. Shorten spaces, okay, is what this does. Shorten spaces, and this is going to print it back out again. But the thing is it's going to always return new sentence back. So when this thing executes, this thing gets updated. Sample text actually gets updated. So when this executes, it goes and does its thing. It sends in sample text. It sends in the menu choice, executes. Then it returns back something, and what it returns back is the updated modified text. So I'm going to see what this does. So that way I can see if, like, first of all, let me quit this first, and let me copy this. And so I'm going to run it and paste in the sample text. And now I'm going to fix the capitalization, F, and the capitalization's fixed. Then I'm going to replace the punctuation by doing R. And yes, it comes back. The capitalization is still there, but it replaced the punctuation. So the last thing I want to do now is shorten spaces, and it's 423, so it looks like I might finish. So shorten spaces, oh, well. As a string parameter, it updates the string by replacing all sequences of 2 or more spaces with a single space. Shorten space returns the string. Call shorten space in the execute menu function and then output the edited string. Okay, so all right, so let's start out. We have a function, def. What do I call it? Shorten space. And there's going to be a sentence coming in. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create something that's going to send it out. Sentence out, and that equals nothing. And then I'm going to do 4 each. Okay, so I'm going to do index now. So I'm not going to use a C. I'm going to use a, yeah, I should use an index. Index in the range of 1. I'm going to start at 1, not 0. So I'm going to start at the second character, the length of the sentence. Okay, so I'm going to loop through each index. And so I'm going to start. So, okay, so I'm looking at the second. Let me put this over here. So if we're over here, so I'm starting by looking at the second character, okay? Because I'm starting with if it's not true that that sentence of I, if it's not true that it's a space, and it's not true that the character before it, no, and it's very interesting the way they do this. Okay, if it's not true that the current character we're looking at is the space, and by the way, it's the second character, so we're looking at this E here. If it's not true that that's a space, and it is true that the character just before it, which is the first character, is a space. If that's true, then we can append a space. Okay, so we are actually deciding whether or not to append this character. And the only way that we will append this character is if this character is not a space. If this character is not a space and this character is a space, if that's true. In other words, if we're right here, and if this character is not a space and this character is a space, then we're gonna include it. We're gonna attach it. And the other case is equals the length of the user string minus 1. All right, I gotta go through this in my head to see if this is right. Okay, so the current is not, if it's not true that the current character is a space, I know that the next character is a space and this character is not and this character is a space. If that's not true, then we want to append it. I minus 1. Okay. And the other thing is that if we're at the end, if I equals the length of sentence minus 1, if I equals that, then I is at the very end. So that means we're looking at this one. We're trying to decide whether this one should be yes, that's what we're trying to decide whether this last one, that's right, that okay, goes all the way to here. So yes, we're trying to decide if this last one should be appended. Or if we're at the last one, then it is appended. Okay, so so here we're always trying to decide whether we're going to append the previous character, and we're going to append the previous character, or we're going to append the previous character unless this is true. This has got to have a closing parentheses here. And so the only time we're not going to append the character is if this is true. And when that is, would be if the next character is a space. If the next character is a space and the current character is a space. Yeah, that's what this is. If the next character is a space and the current character is a space, if that's true, then it is not going to append it. So it's not going to append the space because it's deciding whether to append the character just before the character that's indexed by I. So if we are here, okay, so in this case, I is pointing to this character, and we're trying to decide whether to append this character. So we will not append this character because it is true that the current character that we're looking at to append, and that's a space, and the character right after it is a space, and it's only when this condition is true do we not do this, and that is appending the first space on. So as it's going along, if it ever hits 2 spaces in a row, it skips appending the first one. All right, well, so let's see if this worked. Oh, I got to return something. I got to return a new one. Return sentence out. Okay, so this should get rid of all the spaces. See if it does. Well, we're past time, aren't we? So I'm going to run this. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to make sure that this shorten spaces. All right. So I'm going to run this. First, I'm going to quit this. Then I'm going to run it. And I'm going to paste the sample text. And I'm going to try fix capitalization. And look, it's all nice and capitalized now from here. And then I'm going to replace punctuation, R. Now I'm going to shorten spaces first, S. And now we don't have any funky weird spaces in there. And now I'm going to replace all the semicolons with commas and all the exclamation points with periods. So that would be a R. And there, no exclamation points, no semicolons. All right, well, that should take you, that's pretty close. Now, there's no guarantees that taking this and pasting it into here will work, but all the logic is here, and you should be able to, from this, first of all, you might want to get it to work here, and then you can, do your adjustments. Oh, sorry, you might want to get it to work the way I did, just using your computer. And then after that's all working fine, then you can try pasting it into the window to see if you get all the points, and if you don't, you can make adjustments there. All right, are there any questions? Very good. So I'll see you Thursday. Have a good week.